Bumper Leaguers. We're just going to transition to asking you questions now, right? Because you just spoke a lot about LAN versus online. You have a plethora of experience in LAN finals and stuff like that. But I remember I was either doing an interview on an ESL broadcast or we were talking about it on the show here. And we were talking to a player and he was talking about the different types of angles and stuff that you have to hold online and that you can't get away with the same things like you wouldn't get away with that on LAN. I think maybe it was Dexter who we were talking to, or it was Magix who I was talking. I forget. But is there anything like that that you think is glaringly obvious, other than say the sound cues and stuff? Is there anything about people's gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both if either one of those players like mention it, they're smart for mentioning it because that's exactly how it is. That's why I mentioned like the op and how like impactful it is because you're crouch peeking the things and you get punished unless like you have another op holding it. And I mean, it just comes back to I don't know. I know now for me a joke, which is a bunch of internet abusers, and I think it's so funny because I feel like that term holds like truth to it.
Okay.
Because I can't like hold a very tight angle and like two bolt this guy running around the corner. He'll wide swing at like a speed that I can't react to, and then he'll like shoot me back, and that's just how it is. That's how online CS is.
It feels like it's been years, like going back to honestly, we're talking 10 years ago since saying do it on LAN was like an insult. Because I don't know if it was big for you boys like it was back in like my local scene, but like if someone was like really good when we were playing like online and scrims and shit, you just like type do it on LAN, right? That's what you would type. That was like half the shit that people would type. It feels like we've gotten back to that. But I don't know if like this perspective is one that I try and consider. Do you think that the general level of Counter-Strike has increased because of this online period? Just the amount of games, the amount of competition, and the amount of time people are spending just practicing and playing. It feels like to me like it's kind of accelerated a little bit. Do you get that sense at all when playing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, looking at the year, technically we do have the most competition we've ever had, right? We have three of the best players on the top three teams. So I mean, we do have technically the best competitions we've ever had in like CS. It's not the same like Liquid Assault's the final like every weekend. It's a different team playing a different team in a final every time. And yeah, I think it's good for the environment. Is it bad for the storylines or how can you build on the CS? I think so. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of seeing the same thing kind of go around each time, and it sucks not being able to have a clear cut number one. But yeah, that's how it is.
Sure. All right, Prof. This bag of questions we got for Twistzz. You got any good ones off the top?
Okay, I was just talking to chat. Let me unlock my phone. A lot of them came in on Instagram, actually.
I got one here from Twitter. That's a good one to get to later.
Go.
This is from Lagger15. He says, since everyone seems to focus, I think he meant on the bad parts of NACS, can you tell us some positives about NACS? Were there any positives?
That's just a hard one, right? That's a super hard one.
Loaded question.
That's a very loaded question. I don't know. I want to have like more faith in like the North American scene, but right now it's like it's looking dire, and it doesn't help when. I mean, I don't want to like scapegoat envy, but they really sucked when it came to building around Nifty, and maybe Nifty was just a terrible like leader on the team. Maybe he had too much say in like the roster moves or whatever. But there could have been like a good NA team there. Unfortunately, Triumph was like contending with like other NA teams, and then we went ahead and stole their best player. So it's like you kill that team by doing that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean you lose. It's crazy actually when you go back and like think about like 2018 or 2017 stuff. You had teams like Splice, a bunch of orgs involved still. I remember CLG was like a thing, and it's crazy how like many orgs are just like gone. There's not much NACS to go around, and I just focus on all the negatives.
Yeah, gonna hit him with a big fat no right there.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, the only positives you have is like EG and Liquid when you're thinking of pure like majority NA. But I think the NA scene is very lucky to have these Brazilian teams in the region.
Okay, there you go. That's positive. It's a good place for the Brazilian players to be.
Yeah.
All right, unleash for us, Prof.
A lot of questions, obviously, about the hair. From what I understand, hair tutorial on 100k subs on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100k subs on YouTube, and there's an ongoing thing where every time I have a Discord server, by the way, of like 1,500 people, anytime someone asks for a hair tutorial on my Discord, it goes up to like 1,000 subs.
Okay, so
Oh,
don't
shit.
ask. Don't ask anymore.
So where can they find you on YouTube, just so we can get that number up?
I believe it's just Twistzz.
Okay,
my
so
YouTube.
I did just found it. I did just found it. My English no good. I
English
did just
is
find
good.
it.
Please
Yeah,
link
okay.
it in.
I'm
in
gonna
chat.
link it for everybody, so we can get that up. And
There's just a lot of questions about like future. We obviously answered a lot of them. One was long-term goals for you as a player. Do you see yourself being an in-game leader at one point?
I think so. I think I'm at a point where I have a lot of good ideas in my mind, but when it comes down to like the moments, I can't like put it in the right words to explain it fast enough so everyone understands like what I would want to do. So, and that's like part of an issue I had in Liquid where like I would say like let's go B, but I have this whole picture in my head and I don't have time to explain it to other people. So it's like I'm hoping they just trust me and they follow my movements. But it doesn't work like that. And I need to get better at explaining the whole picture fast enough for everyone to understand. And I think in the future I could definitely be an in-game leader.
There's an interesting question from Alex something. It says, what's the worst you felt in the middle of a game?
oh,
Oof. Well, I'll let you know that it's not when I was playing bad.
Okay.
So there was I won't say names, I won't say ever, but there was like a moment where teammates were arguing and some things were said and it was ended up being one of the most miserable matches I've ever played.
Did you win it?
No.
Okay. Kind of expected, I guess. Striker, do you have anything from Twitter that you found in the meantime?
No, that was the lag thing was something that I spotted as well.
I had some more. Hold up.
Okay, go.
Let me see if I can quickly find these for everybody at home. That's another NACS question. We don't really want that one right there. The map pool one I always find interesting because I always like to hear players' takes on that. So yes. For a change in the map pool, do we need to keep it to 7 maps by removing a map Mirage, please? He said in brackets, and replacing it with another one, or if we can add 1 or 2 maps to the pool without removing one. He means making the map pool wider. The problem I saw is adding 1 map is for vetoes. Okay, forget the majority of that question. Let's simplify this. Do you think that we need a map pool change now? If so, what map do you want to see gone?
I'd say you could technically add 1 more map to the map pool, and I would add 1 map and replace 1 map.
Okay.
And I feel like there just needs to be more variety, and I really missed the period of time where we had Cobble and Cash in the mix, and I think that was one of the most like competitive eras. I think probably just because of how random and Vertigo is, and teams only can find one way to play it, and that's either go A or B like right off the bat. So I think the changes that could be made is, I don't know what you guys think about Season, but I actually think Season was a great map, and if it came back, I think it would have success. And then I would also like to see Cobblestone back in its original form.
Yeah, the original
I wouldn't mind Season if mid was like approached differently, because it seems like way too open now, like hard to do any like good positions there and stuff like that. If that area was addressed, I feel like Season would be a better map. I wouldn't mind it.
It doesn't take much to change. Like I don't know what the Valve situation is on obtaining Tuscan from a copyright perspective, but I mean, I think Season. I mean, you have to account for like player models too now, right? Like I don't know if player models will be like introduced in like majors or whatever, or they're allowed. But like a map on Tuscan, there's bushes everywhere, dude. Like you're gonna be blended in, man. And some of these models are really hard to see. I mean, imagine if there's like a colorblind players. It's still difficult. There's no setting that helps with that, and it's difficult for certain models to see. And luckily, the CSPPA got in touch with Valve on that. But I think there's definitely room for a better map pool than we have right now.
So if you were a player in a 6-man roster, what would be the map that you get subbed out of?
Ooh, that's a rough one. Because like the map I hate the most was the site that I actually enjoyed the most.
Okay,
was Vertigo. I was like so tired of the B side on Vertigo that I was just like, dude, get me out of here. Like I'm just like rotating every round. But then teams actually started coming B and it was enjoyable. So yeah, I I would actually say Mirage. I really wanted to not play A anymore, and unfortunately that just wasn't possible. So if I still was on Liquid and there's a 6-man roster, I'd say something out of Mirage.
All right. Did you find those ones on?
There's a question. I can maybe rephrase it because it's interesting. We have this ongoing bet between SPUNJ and Striker and Pimp as well about like international rosters.
But don't bet, guys.
Doesn't matter. Like TLDR, we don't really have a lot of international rosters having consistent success. And at the moment, we also have like Astralis, Vitality, Navi at the top 3 teams. You played an international roster, but not an international roster because you're all North American, more or less. Where do you see that? Like, is that an issue? Now you're playing in FPL and stuff like that. How do you see the communication potentially developing with you moving to your European team, right?
I think it's a bigger issue when I could be wrong, and I don't want to seem like a bad person anyway by saying this. I feel like Russians have a harder time with grasping like English communication, and I've been on multiple FPL teams where I have 4 Russians on my team, and like it seems like they're explaining things like so in depth, and like they're working well together as like a 4-man unit, and I'm just like doing whatever, and that's okay with me. But I feel like their communication like takes a lot, and it's hard for them to describe things in English as they would in Russian. So yeah, I think having a team that speaks all the native language is super important. But I think most international lineups have been used to speaking English, I'd say.
Sure. Yeah. Look, this bet that I've got, I've defended it now for at least a year. Has it been a year yet?
I think it's been over a year.
Yeah, it must be.
I did make a 5-year bet.
Right?
Was it 3 or was it 5? Fuck, if it's 3, I might make it.
I think it's 5.
If it's 3, I might survive. If it's 5, I have no fucking chance in the world. But basically, Russell, I
mean, 5 years from now, we're not going to have any more single national rosters. So
we're going to have to check the rules. But I bet Pimp and Striker that a international team could not maintain, I think it was top three for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because I think that the communication is that important, right? So we have some rules floating around. So far, so good. I've defended it so far. I don't know how long it's going to last for.
There was a time where most sports were like 4 months already, or 4 months in, or like 3 months in for sure.
Late 2019.
They dropped completely.
Late 2019.
Yeah, late 2019 to early 2020 when they won Ice Challenge, they were at like 3, I think close to 3 months or just over 3 months. Yeah. So that was my best chance so far.
Weren't they number 1 for like a small period?
Yeah, exactly.
They just didn't hold on for long enough.
Well, number 1, no, I think, but they were number 2 for number 2 and number 3 for a really long time.
G2 made number 1, so they were also
true. They're speaking English.
But they don't actually count it according to our rules though, which is a little bit annoying because
what?
Because basically SPUNJ thinks that if you have only 2 nationalities, but it's like 2 and 3 people, then it's actually better than if you have
it's not better.
Like 3. Or if it's not as bad communication-wise, if it's not just like 3 and more nationalities.
We have a clip. We have a clip of G2, Nico, and Hunter in a clutch speaking Serbian. So
the proof is there.
The proof is in the pudding.
That's fair, you know. If look at 2 Brazilian players and they're in the 2v2, I feel like they should be speaking Portuguese for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was trying to do it. The whole concept is that it's 5 people who none of them speak. Well, maybe one of them speaks English as their native language.
Even be 2, I think.
Yeah, but the whole concept is that English is not the primary language of the native speakers. So that everybody collaborating in this communication is such an issue because, like, somebody from Estonia takes something that was said from somebody from fucking Brazil in a different, and you know, like, there's always going to be this jankiness in communication.
Drops to phase.
No, I don't think that's happening. All right, I don't know if that's happening.
So there's the last.
Oh, gotta relax.
Last question. This one was from chat.
Yeah.
Twistzz, imagine you're at the NA regional yearly cookout. There are 2 game sessions in progress. EG roster.
What's a cookout?
Like a barbecue, I guess.
It's just like a get together.
Yeah, like you get some food to cook outside.
Yeah,
with like a barbecue thing, or not a barbecue, like any kind of a fire, I guess.
Any fire, all right.
Any fire.
Understandable.
Because the
In a
barbecue is the enclosed one where you like.
Yeah,
I don't know. You should
Can
probably
you just
know
go
better.
down with the question?
There are 2 game sessions in progress.
Two
EG
game
roster is comfortably controlling the limbo scene, while the updated Furia roster is crushing the cornhole. Which playing field are you pulling up to challenge?
God, dude, I don't even know what cornhole is.
What the fuck is this question?
I don't understand.
The thing is, like, I know what limbo is.
Cornhole is
And
like
I don't
that,
think
like
there's a lot of CS
sliding.
players like limbo. But
You think you could do well at limbo?
yeah,
All right.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck cornhole is, but you know.
I think that's the worst question we've ever asked on this show.
There we go. I found that pretty interesting, honestly.
I've never seen this before.
I'm
I
sorry.
just googled it. I have no idea what this is.
It's the one. It's the. I think you would
Oh,
have played
yeah,
it
I
at
know,
Summer, Russell.
I
You
know.
know, with the bean bags, and there's like a wooden thing,
Oh,
and you
that
try
game's
and get
pretty
it in the
fun.
hole. Yeah, but it's such an absurd question. Okay, I think on that bombshell, we might wrap the show because we're a little bit over time, and I apologize for keeping you late. I did say we'd be finished at 10, and it's now 10:36.
It's all good. It's fun.
So what I want to do now is, if you want to say anything to your fans, to the people out there, if you want to, call Liquid a bunch of cunts, anything that you want to say right now, feel free to say, and then we'll wrap it all up.
I really got nothing besides thank you for having me on here. I really enjoyed it. I like to be involved more in the community stuff, and I'm talking to people that I usually would never get to talk to unless we're at an event and I'm being interviewed, But
Sure.
it's nice, like to be involved in something like this.
Sweet.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming on. We got your last one. It's really good to get you. And with that in mind, maybe we'll get you again in the near future if we're needing a guest. So thank you very much for coming on, Striker and Prof. You guys got anything? We good?
I think
No,
that's just great advertisement for future guests, man. It's just fun to be here, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Unless you're called Alu.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit.
That one was a
Yeah.
bit of a nightmare. But let's wrap this one up, guys. If you want to find the audio-only options, anchor.fm/HLTV. You know where we are right now. It's twitch.tv/HLTV.org. You can go over to Twitter at HLTV Confirmed is the Twitter page. And we're going to be back next Monday. We already have a guest confirmed, so I think we might promo that a little bit earlier in this week. It's going to be 8 p.m. next Monday. We're going to try and get guests for all of our shows and try and keep them on Mondays where possible. So yeah, thank you for Twistzz for coming on. Thank you for all of you for watching again. Today's intro was pretty bad, and so was the last question we asked Russell. So that summarizes today. Thanks again to Extrafy, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.